Let's take a deep breath in first before we jump into the good and the bad. Lambi saans andar, inhale. Come on, don't just watch me take the breath in. Lambi saans andar le, sirf dekhe nahi. Hold it. Release it. Now, very important. Before we get to the good and the bad, we need to understand what happens inside the heart arteries, the brain arteries, all the arteries, and that phenomena, how it's affected by stress, diet, exercise, and cholesterol. So what's happening in the arteries is atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis involves slow narrowing of the heart arteries to a level whereby the flow of the blood gets so reduced that you get symptoms. This phenomena takes a long time. You may not feel any pinch till 70% of the arteries are slowly blocked. On the inside of the arteries, there's endothelium, inside cells, and when there's damage happening over there through inflammation, slowly white blood cells will get deposited inside it, which will start absorbing the bad cholesterol, become foam cells, and slowly that will create a plaque. Once the plaque is created and it gradually shortens or narrows the lumen, which is the inner gap in the artery, you will start getting into issues related to the heart. Now, the major problem is not only this, but the creation of the clot, which jams the flow of the blood and creates the heart attack or the brain attack, which is the stroke. So let's understand the good and bad with respect to this slow creation of atherosclerosis and jamming of the artery in context of the first point, good emotions, bad emotions. Bad emotions, typically three categories: anger, irritation, upset, rage. Second, fear, worry, tensions, anxiety. Third, grief, sadness, hopelessness, loneliness. All of these emotions disturb the fat, lipid, cholesterol metabolism and actually increase the inflammation on the endothelium and deposition of the white blood cells and creation of the foam cells. Stress does that. That's why many people who have had heart attacks have been going through a long period of stress, and we need to work on that stress. At FFD, we've seen people with losing a mother or a spouse, kids getting into drugs, or even for that matter, some family member, creating situations whereby you feel fear of suicide or problems happening in the family, triggering a heart attack. And there's a separate video on this. Do go through that. So point number one, good emotions, bad emotions. And whenever there is love, there is connection, there is a flow, our heart gets uplifted and we need those emotions. How to build those is a matter of a separate video, but let's take cognizance of this first very important thing. Second, bad diet, good diet. First thing in bad diet comes excess diet, because the biggest predictor for heart disease besides age and you being male is your BMI. As your weight increases, BMI increases because of excess food that creates problems. And again, food which is high in sugar, high in fats, high in sodium, which triggers diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, we all know is going to be a problem. And food which improves two things. One is HDL, the good cholesterol, and I'm going to come to that in a short while. And second, nitric oxide. That's the magic chemical inside the body which is going to help you reduce the atherosclerosis by repairing the endothelium, by avoiding the clot formation, by expanding the blood vessels. So 3 things are done by nitric oxide, and you get nitric oxide from foods rich in nitrates, which are coriander, celery, arugula, all the greens, beetroot, watercress, etc. You also get nitric oxide stimulated through antioxidants like vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin D. And nitric oxide also increases by doing exercise regularly, typically endurance exercises, 30 minutes plus per day, 5 days a week, and the very special nitric oxide dump exercise, which is going up and down the hands like this, and hands like this, and hands like this 20 times, and sitting up and down the chair or doing squats 20 times. So the diet and the exercise are connected. The way excess diet itself is a bad diet, sudden excess exercise is also bad exercise. Too less exercise is also not good for our body. We all know that. And let's work on balancing both the diet and exercise part. Last thing, which is about the HDL and the LDL. HDL is like a vacuum. It's pulling the bad cholesterol and triglycerides back to the liver for further breakdown. And LDL is the bad cholesterol which is getting deposited into the heart arteries. So you need to do things which will improve your HDL, the good cholesterol. And good cholesterol improves with simple things like fasting, because fasting secretes adenopectin, and that's very useful for improving HDL, the good cholesterol. HDL also improves with dark colored vegetables like the purple cabbage, like the dark colored berries, also beetroot at times, and these contain anthocyanins, which are very, very good for improving HDL. HDL will also improve with olive oil and a typical Mediterranean diet, and of course nuts, seeds, legumes, beans, plant-based food, and a healthy combination of aerobic exercises done regularly. So let's improve the HDL to minimum 40, if possible to 60. That's the good level for it. And let's keep the LDL, the bad cholesterol, below 100 by cutting out saturated food, animal food, high sugared food, and too much food. Okay, this is very important for improving the heart health. Last but not the least, I'm going to leave you with one parameter, which is something found in South Asian and Indians as the most important parameter, and that is the ratio of non-HDL cholesterol, which is the not good cholesterol, to apolipoprotein B. And if this ratio is less than 1.4, the chances of calcification in the hearts is going to increase. And this study has been done by the South Asian Heart Institute in US, and it's a new study, and it holds a lot of promise to understand why in US Indians and South Asians have double the heart rate than others. So let's understand atherosclerosis, how it increases in a 3-step format. Let's see the role of good and bad emotions, good and bad diet, good and bad exercise, good and bad cholesterol. Do all the tests regularly, especially the full lipid profile test. Track things down diligently, because the symptoms for heart disease are not going to come immediately. They are going to come over a longer period of time, till 70% heart blockages don't happen. So, let us all be careful with our heart. As blood pressure increases, as cholesterol increases, as obesity increases, and of course, the big brother diabetes, because diabetics get 200 to 400% more chances of getting into heart problems. It's 2 to 4 times more problems in them. Stress is going to increase it 50% more. So let's be careful of our heart, of our diabetes, of cholesterol, of obesity, because they're all part of the same problem. And that is insulin resistance. And that is connected to inflammation. And inflammation is something we can measure with insulin resistance using fasting insulin. And we should keep the fasting insulin also between 2.6 to 6. Keep our HSCRP inflammatory markers below 1, because above 3, the heart health gets compromised. So get yourself tracked properly from an institute which does all the tests. Even for stress, it's difficult to know whether you are stressed or not. So we've been doing regular tests on anxiety, depression, positivity, negativity, and 14 tests of the heart and diabetes, and tracking people over 1 year. If you want to take help of that, take help of that. Improve your heart and improve your overall health.